Why didn't God kill David? In 2 Samuel 11 we see King David seeing the naked body of the woman Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam. He lusted for her, and even though she was married to one of the soldiers in his army, a man named Uriah, David slept with her, and when she became pregnant with David's child, he tried to hide it through deception. But when his deception failed, David resorted to another sinister plot, to have Uriah killed on the battlefield. In 2 Samuel 11 verse 14 and 15, it states, "The next morning David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by Uriah. In the letter David wrote, it stated, 'Put Uriah on the front lines where the fighting is worst and leave him there alone. Let him be killed in battle.'" Why didn't God kill David? David was not killed for two reasons, and I will show you now. In 1 Samuel 24 we see David had the opportunity and the justification to kill King Saul, but he did not. In verse 12 of that same scripture, David invoked the authority of God when he stated, and I quote, "May the Lord judge between you and me. And may the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me, but my hand will not touch you." In the next verse, verse 13, he adds, "As the old saying goes, from evildoers come evil deeds, so my hand will not touch you." David showed King Saul mercy by not killing him. Saul was the appointed king at that time and was anointed by God. God used the same measure that David used to judge Saul to also judge David, as referenced in Matthew 7 verse 2. "For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." David was at that time the appointed king and was anointed by God. Therefore, God did not kill David when he could have, and probably should have, because David did not kill Saul when he could have, and probably should have. Now, there is another reason David did not die, which is found in 2 Samuel 12. Nathan came to him and said, "There were two men in a certain city. One was rich, and the other was poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cows, but the poor man had only one little female lamb that he had bought. He raised her, and she grew up in his home with his children. She would eat his food and drink from his cup. She rested in his arms and was like a daughter. Now, a visitor came to the rich man. The rich man thought it would be a pity to take one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the traveler. So he took the poor man's lamb and prepared her for the traveler." In 2 Samuel 12 verse 5, it states, "David burned with anger against the man. 'I solemnly swear, as the Lord lives,' he said to Nathan, 'the man who did this certainly deserves to die. And he must pay back 4 times the price of the lamb because he did this and had no pity.'" Here again, we see David invoking the authority of God by saying, "I solemnly swear, as the Lord lives, the man who did this certainly deserves to die." Notice carefully, David said that the man, referring to himself, deserves to die. He did not say that the man must die. Hence by his very word, David did not pronounce the punishment of death upon his own self. Now look carefully at verse 6, "And he must pay back 4 times the price of the lamb because he did this and had no pity." In that verse, David used more pronounced and precise language. He said the man must pay back 4 times the price. By making that statement, David pronounced judgment on his own self with his own words. As time passed, that judgment would come true, as 4 of David's sons would die untimely. Number 1, David's son with Bathsheba, unnamed in 2 Samuel 12 verses 15 to 19, David had 4 sons who died. Number 2, Amnon, found in 2 Samuel 13 verses 28 to 29, murdered by his half-brother Absalom. Son number 3, Absalom, found in 2 Samuel 18 verses 9 to 15, murdered by Joab. Son number 4, Adonijah, found in 1 Kings 2 verses 19 to 25, executed on Solomon's orders. What can we learn from this? It shows that all scriptures are related, and that which was said in Proverbs 18 verse 21 still rings true. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And, in Matthew 7 verse 2, "For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." DormTag, ideas that feeds hungry minds.